Alright, so hi guys, this is Jackie from techjackie.com and welcome you to another video on SEO. First of all, if you're brand new to this channel, make sure to press the subscribe button down below so when I release a new SEO video like this, you get notified. Right, so in today's video, I like to kind of make an announcement that I'm going to release a new YouTube SEO series, which I call as SEO tutorial for beginners, no BS course, right? So in this is gonna be like about 15 plus videos. In fact, I've already made a list and currently it's about 18, but then I'm planning to add more videos to it in the future as well. So it's gonna be a complete SEO tutorials, especially designed for beginners as well as intermediate who are looking for an BS no BS SEO course, right? So I'm pretty aware, like there are lots of SEO courses out there on YouTube, and most of them are, pretty much the same old stuff. But then in this video, in this series, I'm gonna teach you each and everything that you need to know, like from introduction to SEO to on-page, technical and off-page, focusing only on what are necessaries and no beating around the bush, as well as, practical oriented courses. So, this is like the plan here. So in today's video, I'm gonna start with the first video of the series, which is called as Understand SEO and how it works in 2020 and beyond. So without further ado, let's start with the video. So here I made a small slide here to kind of explain the like the definition of SEO and what are like how it actually works, right, in 2020 and beyond, in case like you're still a little bit of confused as to what is actually SEO and how it works, right? So first of all, SEO, as you probably know, stands for search engine optimization. Is a process of content or site optimization around a particular keyword or words, keeping in mind how search engines work with the goal of increasing online visibility or ranking in the search result. Okay, so if you notice, I mentioned the word keyword with an S here, right? So which I'm going to talk about in a couple of seconds from now. But first of all, if you don't know what are actually keywords, right? Keywords are basically like a search, like search terms, that people make put into the Google search results or any search engines, and they want to look for something, right? So I'm not gonna dive deep into what are the different type of keywords and all those stuff. That I'll do in an on-page SEO section, but just to give you a little bit of idea. So for instance, let's say you're a plumber in Los Angeles. So the main keyword or the main search terms that people are going to use in order to find your business is like plumber in Los Angeles, right? Something like that. And your goal is to basically try to rank your website for that search phrase or that search term as high as possible in the search results, preferably on the first page of Google, right? Because that's where most of the traffic or clicks goes. And the reason why I mentioned S here is because one website or even one page can rank for multiple keywords, right? Let's say besides just plumber in Los Angeles, which is your main goal of rankings, you may also provide other type of services such as pipe repair Los Angeles, something like that on your service pages, right? So you might want to try to rank for those other keywords as well, which are related to your main keywords. And besides that, your home page, your main page, which you're trying to rank for a plumber in Los Angeles, you can also rank for other variations of the keyword as well, such as Los Angeles plumbers, best Los Angeles plumbers, something like that, right? Like different variation of it. So if you're still a bit confused, don't worry, I'll dive deep into the keyword concepts later on in this course. And search engines like Google, yeah, keep that in mind that we're gonna focus on Google here in this course. Although there are other search engines available on the internet as well, such as Bing, Yahoo, right, DuckDuckGo, all these. But Google, being the most famous search engines available, we're gonna only focus on this. And when I talk about search engines, I'm basically referring to Google. Although other search engines also work like in a similar manner, like fundamentally they all are the same, but it's just the way of how they actually operate, right? So different search engines use different algorithms, right? So but first of all, if you don't know what are algorithms are basically a set of rules, right, or program which are written or created in order to kind of work like, to kind of, like control of how things are going, like, like different processes, that are like going in the background, right? So these are like, in the computer science area, you don't really have to, understand. And like algorithms are the way of, how search engines actually work behind the scene, right? And no one actually knows how they truly works, right? Especially Google, where they keep the secret, hidden, right? Because if it is exposed, or if anyone knows how their algorithms actually work, then anyone can just simply rank, right? And become a millionaire, or like all those. So um, uh, keep in mind that when we are doing SEO, we're basically trying to follow the best practices, and like by following different steps taken by various SEO experts, various people who over the years have developed different techniques and stuff, right? Which they have proven and tested and seen results. But at the end of the day, we never truly know how the algorithms or how the system actually works behind the scene, right? So the goal of the so Google uses sophisticated algorithms to determine the rankings of web pages based on relevancy and authority. And the main goal of any search engines out there is to deliver the most useful content to the users. So think about it. If you go to Google and you type in, let's say, how to bake a pizza, and you got a results back on, like most of them are like how to bake a cake, then obviously those results are irrelevant, right? And it's not what you're looking for. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna be frustrated, and you're gonna leave Google, right? And then you go to other search engines. So Google obviously doesn't want that, because they want to make money, right? Like they want users to stick on using their search engines, right? Using their system. So the more quality content, or the more quality search results they are able to deliver to the users, especially like relevancy, right? It should be as relevant as possible to what users are looking for. And also it should comes from the trustworthy places, right? The authoritative places. Like for instance, if you're looking for, let's say, a medicine to buy, then you wouldn't want a results coming from, like a new website, or like a basic local website, something like that, right? Like you want results from high trustworthy website, such as webmd.com, all those big websites. So main things that Google are looking for when they try to rank web pages are relevancy and authority, right? How relevant the search, the web page or the website is to the queries or to the search term that users are looking for the answers, and the authority, or how trustworthy that website is. Basically, their goal is to deliver the most useful content to the users, as mentioned earlier. And at the core of their algorithms is powered by complex AI. Now, there are obviously, like lots of things going on in the background of how Google actually works, but fundamentally, like at the core of their algorithms, it's powered by complex AI, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. So the way how AI and machine learnings work is, they always change, right? They always adapt. They always, try to come up with new things. Basically, they are machine learning, right? Like they can learn and adapt based on various things. So AI at a fundamental level understand objects or environment or things around them based on the previously learned or recognized patterns. So let's say if you type in something like how to bake a pizza, then Google or their algorithm knows what type of content users are looking for. So most of them are probably looking for a step-by-step guide, right? Like a step number 1, you have to prepare your dough, step number 2, etc., etc. They would also try to maybe provide let's say video research results, right? Because maybe people are more interested in watching videos, right, rather than reading. So this is the way that they work. So they try to adapt, they try to change based on users behavior, because remember, their goal is to deliver the most useful content to the users, right? So this is one thing that we call as search intent, which we're going to talk about later on in this course. But it's basically is an intention behind each and every search is being made by the users, right? So hope you're getting the idea here. And this is how they actually works at the fundamental level. So in a nutshell, search engines use multiple signals combined with the data they have collected over time. So over the time, they use machine learning, they use AI, and these system algorithms they learned, based on the various past experience, which they think are the most useful for the users to rank content. So search engines like Google uses various signals, right? Like there are over, I don't know, like 200 ranking signals or factors which Google uses in order to rank website, right? Based on, like various things such as, are the pages relevant or not? Are they containing keywords? Like based on like multiple factors they use in order to compute or to decide as to where they should rank each web page, right? So there are tons and tons out there, but in this course we're going to only focus on a few which are very important and which plays a major role in in rankings, right? Because to be honest, like no one really knows how many factors Google use in order to rank websites, but from various SEO experts, from various studies and tests, we came up with around 200 to 300, something like that. Obviously we're not going to explore each and every one of them. We're only going to focus on what really moved the needle, right? Because some factors are really small, some factors are really big, right? Like they play small roles, some factors play a big role, right? So you gotta understand this. You only have to focus on only what really moves the needle, what really works, right? Because obviously it's impossible to focus on different stuff, and of course since Google never disclosed as to what are the factors they use, no one really knows how it actually works, right? And that's basically how SEO works in 2020 and beyond. And the reason why I'm mentioning the word AI and machine learning here and how their algorithms actually revolves, let me kind of bring you back to to the past a little bit. So let me bring this up. So this was one of the articles which I was able to find on the internet, article by Search Engine Journal. So this kind of talks about the history of SEO and how search engines algorithms or their systems have evolved, right? Particularly Google they're talking about here. So it started off with the Wild West era, which like back in 2000 something, like in 2000s, in the beginning of search. So in that back then, it was very easy to rank anything. Yeah, you could just throw in the content and then you kind of spam the hell out of it, and you'll just simply rank as easy like that. And this kind of degrade the user experience, like make the user experience poor, right? Because like anyone, any website can simply rank their content by simply spamming the web, right? And then over the time, search engines like Google, they kind of keeps on evolve their algorithms, right? So over the time they're getting better at serving content to the users. And right now we're at the moment where it's pretty like damn good about what they're doing. So, and that's why it makes Google today, right? One of the most famous search engines in the world. Because of their algorithms, they keep on changing, they keep on upgrading, and now they're almost up to the point where it's basically they can simply understand what you're looking for, they understand the intention, they understand each and everything you want, right? And by using their AI and machine learning. And that's pretty much a little bit background of how it works. So after that, right, so now we kind of understand how SEO works, how the algorithms kind of work a little bit. Let me kind of introduce you to the 4 basic steps of how search engines actually work, right? Like Google and any other search engines. So 4 steps of how search engine works, right? So first step is crawling, right? Crawling. So crawling is the first step that search engines use in order to to kind of rank your website. Crawling basically means like discovering your website. So they have what we call as the bots, right? So these bots, like Google, they use their bot's name is Google bots. Bing, they use their bot's name as Bing bot, right? So these are like a small robots which crawl around the web like a spider. So they go and find different pages, different website, and if that website allows the bot to crawl right around, the bots to discover, then the bots will kind of pick that website up and it will move on to the next step, which is called as indexing, right? Indexing basically means placing that web pages or that website into their database, right? So kind of register your website or your web page in their database. And right now your website is available on Google search, right after it is being indexed. First is crawling or discovering or finding your web page or website. Let's say if you, because you can also block Google bots, you can also block search engine bots, but so that they cannot discover your website. But of course we don't want that, because if they can't discover your website, they won't even be able to register it in their database. And of course they can't move on to the next step, which is rendering, right? Rendering. So rendering basically means like rendering basically means kind of like like for instance indexing. So indexing, they'll take only the most important pieces on your content of your website or of your web page and index it or put into their database, but it may not be the full version of your web page or your website. When it comes to rendering, which happens quite after, sometimes after the page is being indexed, rendering basically means the Google will kind of see your web page just as the normal users would see, right? So let me kind of give you an example here. It might be a little bit confused. So initially it starts off by crawling and then indexing. So indexing basically means register your web page into their database, but then while they're indexed, they kind of index just only the important things, so mostly content, right, and maybe some images, only the most important thing on your web page. So this is how so this is actually the same web page here. Let me show you that. It's basically the same web page, but this is in a normal indexing version, but it is not being rendered yet. So let me kind of show you this one. So this is the normal, this is how the page actually looks like in real, like to us users. So this is that web page, but then this is how it looks like when it was first being indexed, right? As you can see, it's just a bare content, no images, only wordings are there. So it looks pretty bare bone, right? Skeleton type. So this is the first step of how Google kind of pick your website, your web page, and they put it into your index without actually thinking about like different elements such as ads and all these, right? So in this way they will start understand what your website is all about in the fastest manner, right? Because remember, the web is so big, so they can't like rendering actually. In order for Google or the Google bot to see this version of your website or how it looks actually, it will pretty much use lots of computing resources, right? And they don't have much time for that. So in order to in order to make it as fast as possible, they'll kind of index this skeleton type of the web page first, and then rendering will come afterwards. So after like certain amount of time, let's say a week or two, they'll start they'll start rendering the web page into this version, right? The version of what users would see. So in the meantime, like while waiting for the page to get rendered, they may also start ranking your site as well, right? So in between, rankings also happen, and this completes the 4 steps of how search engines work. First, crawling or discover your web page, and then indexing, register your web page into their database so it is now available to Google. And then in between, they would try to rank as well, right, based on the content. And then after like a week or two, they will start rendering the web page to see how it actually looks to the users. And they might change the ranking based on that, because let's say if the page doesn't look good to the users, then if initially it may rank you higher, but then afterward it may try to rank you lower, something like that. So ranking happens in between like this, right? In between this, and rendering also comes afterward, like after it is being indexed as well. So This is basically the 4 main steps of how search engines work, and it is a general fundamental ways, right? Like for Bing also maybe a little bit different in the number of in the timing and all those stuff, but this is how they actually works. And that's pretty much sums up this videos. And if you have any questions, make sure you know let me know in the comment section down below, and try to understand them as soon as possible. And thank you for watching, and see you in the next SEO course for beginners.